Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Bo again. So tonight we're going to talk about what toy designers can teach the president. So, in the late 80s, G.I. Joe, that was a big thing. That was a big thing. And it was little action figures, and then they had vehicles that went along with them. You had G.I. Joe, and they were pitted against Cobra. Now, as the franchise kind of fell in popularity, I don't know if it was because they were running out of money or they just couldn't come up with new ideas or what it was, but they decided to reuse some of the molds for the vehicles. And they released the Cobra vehicles with new paint jobs, and they gave them to G.I. Joe. And it was called Tiger Force, and the storyline was that G.I. Joe had captured these vehicles and they were now using them. Fair enough, because that happens in real life. In real life, opposition forces, they take each other's equipment and they repurpose it for their own uses. That's a real life thing. So what's that have to do with the president? The president and DOD, in their infinite wisdom, have decided to reverse a policy stopping the use of mines. The policy states that if they're going to be used, they have to be non-persistent mines. Now, what that means in English is that they degrade and they stop working after a set number of times. There's two ways that this can be done. It can be done chemically by attacking one specific component. I'm not going to get into the interior workings of them. Or the one they're leaning towards is that the battery just runs out, so it doesn't work anymore. They'll also be equipped with a remote control that can make them self-destruct. Okay. All that sounds pretty good. I mean, they set it and they go dead in 2 weeks. Walk along, step on it, click, nothing happens. Fair enough. Fair enough. However, this is not the 1900s. There is no real use for these on a modern field. There's not. The study that kind of prompted this had to do with a great power scenario. So us versus Russia or China. And the idea was that we could use these to funnel opposition wherever we wanted them to go. And that's the way they work. They're denial of area devices. You put them out and people can't go there. It's really kind of a simple idea. The thing is, you don't win the next war by preparing for the last. These aren't effective anymore. And we have much better devices to deny area. Tons. Some are unmanned. So the need for them isn't there. But let's go back to the toy designers real quick. So you're going to put a bunch of these out, and then the batteries are going to go dead. Now, on today's fields, lines don't exist, but let's just pretend that they do. Okay, let's play along with this scenario. They change very quickly. So the U.S. would either move past or move back from these in short order. The remote control is probably going to be pretty much useless, but they will degrade over time. So you have all of these out there. They are now inert. They won't work if somebody steps on them. And that's cool, except for the fact that all the components inside still function. How long do you think it's going to be before the opposition repurposes them? If you were part of the recent unpleasantness over there, who was just a great catch? You went out to snatch somebody, you were sent out. Who was the best person to catch? What did he make? Did he use commercially available stuff, or was it improvised? We're handing them the tools they need to harm civilians and U.S. forces. This is a horrible idea. It's a horrible idea. And understand, even while they are short-lived, during that time they are indiscriminate. When they are active, they are indiscriminate. They don't know. It's a device. It sits on the ground. It has no clue whether that's a combat boot or a barefoot child that just stepped on it. Most countries have completely prohibited the use of these things. They are unnecessary. They're obsolete. They are obsolete. This isn't something we need, and it can only hurt us. I would suggest that the only real reasons, because I racked my brain trying to come up with any realistic scenarios in which these would be necessary or even beneficial. And there's some where, yeah, maybe it kind of helps, but there's better tools for that. So the only scenarios I can come up with for this occurring and this ban being lifted and this policy being reversed is that somebody's been offered a really cush retirement job, or the president realized that Obama was instrumental in prohibiting their use, except outside of Korea. That seems like a really, really stupid reason to put people in harm's way, to supply the opposition, to endanger civilians. DOD has made a lot of dumb moves over the years. This will go in that book. And the brass at the Pentagon apparently does not understand something that every E2 in the world knows and that even toy designers know. Anyway, it's just a thought. Y'all have a good night.